made some updates since the last video. Location update, different room. Mic update, the mic's the same, but I fiddled with the settings a little bit. So let's hope those updates are ultimately for the best. I have one of my favorites here, Chungking Express. This is the Blu-ray release, and this movie came out in the mid-90s, 1994. I didn't see it in 1994. I saw it for the first time in the year 2000, the future. It may not have been exactly the year 2000, but give or take a year. Because I rented this from a local independent video store. That video store is Videoport, or was Videoport. Unfortunately, Videoport's no longer around. They went out of business. But a belated thank you to the person at Videoport who curated the foreign film section. There's a lot of movies I wouldn't have been exposed to, at least so early on in my life, if it wasn't for the foreign film section at Videoport. I was entertained by this movie the first time I saw it. I liked it. But I didn't love it in the sense that it didn't have like a profound impact on me or anything. I came around this movie quite a bit in the sense of where it falls on my all-time list during its, I guess it wouldn't be second release, but when it received its Blu-ray release, which was in 2008. First printing 2008. Okay, so I purchased this movie 17 years ago. I just need a moment to digest that. I don't know how I feel about that. It's still one of my favorite movies, so I guess that gives you an idea of how much time has transpired and how long it's remained one of my favorites. So what's this movie about? Let's take a look at the back of the box here. Well, before we get to the back of the box, just to comment on the artwork. This isn't the original theatrical artwork or anything. This artwork was, I imagine it was anyways, commissioned for the Criterion release. Criterion releases don't normally put the original artwork on their products. But I feel this does a good job of representing the feel of the movie. This character here in the foreground, that's Faye Wong, the actress, singer. And the character in the background here, that's really out of focus, that's Tony Leung. He's a world cinema star. He's a really worldwide known actor. But I imagine most people, at least folks in North America, probably know him best from Shang-Chi, the MCU movie. He plays the villain in that. And he's great in it, but if that's your only exposure to Tony Leung, I highly recommend seeking out as many other movies. You can start with this one. Anyways, okay, so that's the front. Let's go to the back now. So what's this movie about? Let's see what the synopsis is here. I know what it's about, but let's see what they said. The whiplash double-pronged Chungking Express is one of the defining works of 90s cinema, and the film that made Hong Kong director Wong Kar-wai an instant icon. A little context. The double-pronged. This movie tells two, I wouldn't say they're entirely independent stories. There are some moments where the characters cross paths, but two separate stories. And it was originally going to contain 3 stories, but ended up being too long, too bloated. I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't there at the the table. But the 3rd story ended up becoming its own movie entirely. That's called Fallen Angels. It also stars one of the actors from this movie, Takashi Kaneshiro. I like Fallen Angels, but knowing it was going to originally be part of Chungking Express, it always felt a little bit too long to me. Anyways, back to the back of the box here. 2 heartsick cops, Takashi Kaneshiro, and Tony Leung, both jilted by ex-lovers, cross paths at the Midnight Express takeout restaurant stand, where the ethereal pixie waitress Faye, that's Faye Wong from the front. I guess, I don't know if it's a coincidence her character was named Faye. Either way, let's see, that's where the ethereal pixie waitress Faye works. Anything goes in Wong's gloriously shot and utterly unexpected charmer, which cemented the sex appeal of its gorgeous stars and forever turned canned pineapple and the mama and the papa's California dreamin' into tokens of romantic longing. I think I said mama and the papas. A singular mama, it's mamas and the papas. Okay, that's a little strange, this description of the movie, because if I were to read this, I would assume maybe there's like a love triangle or something happening here, where those 2 heartsick cops find themselves at a takeout stand that's run by Pixie waitress Faye. I'm also not sure if they're referring Pixie as her attitude or her haircut. Perhaps both. Well, that's not the case. As mentioned, there's two stories happening here. So one of the stories involves Tony Leung's character and Faye Wong, which we saw on the front cover. They're one of the couples. And the other story involves Takashi Kaneshiro's character. They're both cops. I don't think they have names in the movie. It's like Cop 223, Cop 663. And the other actress is Bridget Lin. So it's really surprising that Bridget Lin's not credited on the back. I really don't understand that, because comparatively with the other actors here, Bridget Lin fits in from her amount of movies she's been in and her popularity. And I'm guessing, someone that's reading the back of this box, they may not recognize these actors in the first place, so to leave out Bridget Lin's character is kind of weird to me. Anyways, that's the other story. And anything else here of interest? Okay, newly restored transfer, audio commentary, theatrical trailer, new and improved English subtitle translation. I always have to take their word for it on that stuff. And plus a booklet featuring a new essay by critic Amy Taubin. So why do I like this movie so much? Again, I really came around on it when I ended up watching it again about 8 years or so after the first time I watched it. And perhaps due to more life experiences, I'm not entirely sure, it resonated with me a lot more. It's a pretty playful movie, and I mentioned like anything goes in the back or something like that. It feels really spontaneous. And the relationships, they, not directly, but like any relationship, involve circumstance, time, where you are at a certain point in your life. also indirectly, I suppose, deals with those moments that you may not realize it at the time. You're not cognizant of the time, but it's the last time you'll ever have that moment. So it could be something as minor as, getting a sandwich someplace, and you're like, oh, I love this sandwich place, I hope it's here forever. And then they close the next day, and you didn't realize that was the last time you ate a sandwich, from that particular place. Hey, that's my dog barking. That's Peter Parker. He's a really good boy. And he just barks a lot. If that's only going to be 2 barks, then we're lucky. Maybe the mail person's here. Something really important's happening, I'm guessing. But, anyways, back to my sandwich. You get the sandwich, you eat the sandwich. You're like, oh, that was great, I love this place. Now, if you were to know they were closing and you got the sandwich, you're probably a lot more reflective when eating that sandwich. Really taking in those bites, That doesn't happen in life very often, especially with relationships. And sometimes you just don't realize it that, oh, that was the last time I would have experienced something like that with that person. So, I feel this movie does a good job of weaving in a lot of those things, while also making it really lighthearted. It's really, really enjoyable to watch. The cinematographer, the director of photography is Christopher Doyle, and he's done a lot of movies with Wong Kar-wai. Their relationship, I really can't speak to that, but from a professional standpoint, they've really produced a lot of striking images, and this movie has a lot of dynamic camera work. It has a great soundtrack, and there's a lot of great use of color as well. So, I can't recommend this movie enough. It is getting a 4K release. I'm not too sure if I mentioned that in April, but it'll be the updated version. So Wong Kar-wai went back to a lot of his films, and he updated the color timing, in some cases the aspect ratio, and whether or not you think those changes are for the best, that's entirely subjective, but they're his movies, so he can do what he wants. The only thing that's disappointing is that this particular version of the movie is out of print. So if you were to watch this movie today, you're getting the updated version. And that's what bothers me when movies are updated. It's that the original experience just over time will fade away. It becomes virtually impossible to get a copy of it. Like, at some point, this movie won't play anymore. It'll get disc-rot, or someone will look at me with 2 heads when I say Blu-ray player, DVD player. Like, what are you talking about? So, I suppose if you have no previous experience with this movie, you'll definitely get the most updated version if you were to stream it today. But this version with the original color timing is only with the Criterion release and the more than likely the original DVD release, which came out in the 90s under Quentin Tarantino's distribution line, the Rolling Thunder Pictures. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.